Okay, folks, so it is August 17th, 2025, and it's now been 6 years since this monstrosity floated over our location here in Henderson, in southern Nevada. And I took the time and reported this thing to many different agencies, but just want to point out real quick in the very beginning of the video, you'll see this object drifting down from that. That's what this zoomed in view is, showing it a little bit up close. There's whatever that drifting object was, kind of fell off a frame, but you know, um, I find it really hard to believe that out of all of the people that live here in the Las Vegas Valley, not one news reporter, not one camera person other than myself managed to capture whatever this it was drifting through the skies back on August 17th of 2019. And it's very curious. And I did several videos on this. If you go to my playlist, 15-minute flashback Friday list, I go back through this video and I just kind of break it down and I show like some of the different colors
And I reverse
and
this. See.
just kind of talk about it and present some additional information and stuff. But at the time when this drifted through the skies, um, it was still unknown that the X-37B, the suborbitals, were up there, and at least they weren't telling the public anyway. And it wasn't until October of 2019 that they had finally been discovered and had to own up and fess up to the fact that they had been drifting these suborbitals over our heads. So I'm wondering if that isn't what this was one of their suborbitals that was having trouble, you know. But it brought a lot of energy with it, and there were dragonflies present, and that's kind of interesting because there's a lot of dragonflies hanging around today. Again, 6 years later to the day that that thing drifted through, and now this was today. I went out and I recorded this today, August 17, 2025, and this is looking right off in the direction. This is almost in the same location where the camera was located when this thing drifted through. And in this little short clip here, I'll show you because I estimated that this thing was up between 6 and 8,000 feet, but I just don't know. Whatever it was pretty large. It was displacing a lot of the atmosphere as it was drifting over. But where was I? Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, this was today, and I show in this video here. There's planes coming in that direction, and you can see the plane that I capture is up at about 8,000 feet, and it's coming in right about in the same location. It would have been located right about in the same location where whatever that object was, and off in that direction anyway, drifting through. And I do kind of zoom in on the plane so you can see there's a plane there. Right there is a plane right in the middle where the little play button pops up. And as you saw, that was up at about 8,000 feet. So whatever this was that drifted through, it was up in between those heights, between 6 and 10,000, I guess. I don't know. It's just as it drifted through the southern skies. Now I can show you here on Google Maps. Um, yeah, look at. You see these numbers? These are our houses right here. The numbers that are directly on top of the houses, those are actual addresses, okay? But these numbers here, I put in that. This is not a valid address because it's our driveway. You can see from the picture there, that's our driveway. That's not an actual, there's no address there. There's no house there. This isn't a duplex or anything. And it's the same thing over here. This is this tiny space right here in between these two houses. And I think it's very interesting that Google Maps still acknowledges those and puts them on the map as addresses. There's numbers there. There shouldn't be numbers there. And it's very curious that when I got access to the registration rolls here in Southern Nevada, that I found that somebody was allowed to count when a vote was counted for 733 and 729, which are not valid addresses. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. It's just interesting. Google Maps still has those listed. GPS coordinates. If the GPS and Google Maps recognizes it as an address, then why not use it as an address? Anyway, this is our backyard right in here. And this right here was approximately where um, the camera was located. Right there. And I'm going to zoom out so you can see right in here is where the camera was at. So I'm going to zoom out to show you. There's Henderson. Here we have Las Vegas to the northwest. And that, whatever that object was, it was very large. Whatever that monstrosity was, whatever this was, okay, it was very, very large. And it was drifting like over this area here, over like the Mojave National Preserve, Death Valley, all in this area here. And it was heading southeast. Is once it got around the side of the house here and it drifted through, once it drifted past this big tree that we have in our yard there right here, I have other video footage of it when it came up to the other side of the house. And that's in the videos that I have on my channel too. I show that one too. This is it right here. This is where it made its way to the side of the house. And at that point, it seemed to be traveling more east than south. So it would have been traveling from this direction out here on the West Coast area. There's California, and it would have been drifting out this way, and then it took a turn out this way and headed out over towards Arizona, drifting very, very slowly. Okay. And it's very curious that shortly after I captured that, that suborbital is captured landing in Cape Canaveral area. So anyway, today's the 6 year anniversary of when this monstrosity drifted over our location here, and I still don't have any answers. Like I said, I sent in the information and images and videos to multiple agencies and organizations, and I still have got no reply 6 years later. And I can't find anyone else that has any video that looks anything like this on the internet. Like, this is completely unique to my channel. Like, you're telling me that out of the hundreds of thousands of people that live here out in the Southwest and in Southern Nevada, nobody else but me captured and saw this thing and recorded it? You know, it's just frustrating because, for the longest time, they weren't allowed to put those suborbitals up. It was against international laws. And the X-37B was just a conspiracy theory up until this thing drifted through and it was discovered landing in Cape Canaveral like 90 days later, that they fessed up and they owned up. And then they had to own up to the fact that they have had multiple X-37s and suborbitals up there drifting around in our upper atmosphere without our knowledge or our consent. And whatever this monstrosity was, it was carrying with it a lot of energy, a godly amount of energy. And it isn't a coincidence that storms were kicking up to the east of our location shortly after this drifted through. There were major storm systems developing across the southern United States. So, I don't know, folks. Anyway, if you want to check out some of the other videos, you check out in 15-minute flashback Friday, Hidden Crafts Drift Above. I did this one August 5th of 22, but this video is available. And this video also shows the original footage. This is the original footage, like what you were just looking at right here. So, anyway, stay safe and mindful, folks, and check out some of these other videos and some of these other hidden crafts and things, because we're coming up on the anniversary of um, that another strange, big, huge craft that drifted through the same area. And this area off here to the southeast of our location, this area out here over towards Boulder City and over Sloan Canyon and all of this area here, and from this direction to the southwest of our location, I have captured a lot of very interesting activity, which I think is curious because you would think I would capture, well, I probably would capture more from Nellis over here to the north of our location if I didn't have some of these hills in the way. But I've captured some strange things off in this way too. But the bulk of the very large drifting machines that I've captured have been from the southwest direction. So anyway, stay safe and mindful, folks. Know that I appreciate you and that you matter very much to me. And it matters very much to me that you stay safe and mindful, because they are not going to stop until they have popped off another 9/11 that is like 100 times in 9/11, to get that away from all of these distractions and everything that they have everybody talking about and all these hot topics and all of these situations where we want to see people taking accountability for their actions. They need another big distraction, like bigger than 9/11, in order to move past all of it. So that way they can say, well, forget about all of that. We have this bigger pressing crisis to have to deal with. So just stay safe and mindful.